This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Hi, I'm Allison. This is Wonder Crochet. Welcome back. Now I haven't done one of these videos in a while, but I thought it would be fun to chat about everything I've crocheted so far this year. So everything in January, February, March, and then part of April, since we're right in the middle of April. It's almost like a quarter 1 review of crochet projects. Now if you're brand new here and brand new to crochet and you'd like to learn how to make cute plushies and anything out of yarn, I have a full online course. I'll link that in the description. It teaches you from the very beginning how to crochet and how to crochet well. So let's jump into everything that I've crocheted so far this year. Okay, I have my list here, and I will warn you that the January is a little light on the crochet projects. If you watched my videos from that time, I was dealing with some health issues, so I didn't get to crochet that much. But don't worry, I definitely make up for it in February. So the first thing that I crocheted in January was a bunch of fairies. So I released this cute fairy pattern in January, and if you know me, I'm a big fan of fairies, anything cutesy like that. And this was just so fun to design. I also still love all the Tinkerbell movies, like the Pixie Hollow ones. So I would say that these are loosely inspired by that. But I made this one first, and honestly, I wanted to make one to kind of look like me. So that's why I made her blonde and did pink and purple, because those are two of my favorite colors. And then I decided that I wanted to make a fairy for all 4 seasons, because to me that screams Pixie Hollow. And so I decided that this was my spring fairy. And then this was my summer fairy, and if you've seen the movies, she does remind me a bit of Iridessa, especially with that yellow dress. So it was spring, summer, winter, and fall. If you can see, fall doesn't have her wings. I was making these so quickly that I just pinned them on and I haven't sewn them on yet. But winter is definitely giving Elsa. This is actually one of my favorite patterns that I've made, just because there's so many different options. Like, there's so many different fairies that you could make with these. So I have these 4 fairies, and I also made one in neon yarn because Parfait Chunky came out with a neon line, and it was perfect for a fairy. I'll pop a picture in. I actually sold her in one of my plushie drops on my website. And if you also crochet and you'd like to sell plushies on your own website, I would definitely recommend checking out Squarespace. Squarespace is the #1 platform for entrepreneurs to succeed online. If you're looking to grow your brand more, or even just starting out, Squarespace makes it easy so you can have your own beautiful website. Not only does Squarespace make it easy for you to start selling online, but it has all the tools so you can sell physical goods as well as digital content and services. And there's also flexible website templates, so you can get started with a professionally designed Squarespace website template where you can customize the look, update the content, and then add the features to fit your needs. So even if you're a beginner with no web experience, you can easily create a beautiful site with Squarespace. So if you're ready to grow your crochet business, head to squarespace.com/wondercrochet to save 10% on your first purchase of a website or a domain using code WonderCrochet. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to our crochet creations. The next thing that I crocheted in January, and this was in preparation for Valentine's Day, one of my favorite holidays, as you know, is this love bug. I also made a rainbow one. I sold that one as well, but I wanted to keep this cute little Valentine's one. I wanted to use Valentine's colors, so that's why I did the pink and the white stripes. And then of course I did the heart antennas to just really drive home that this is a Valentine's Day plush. Oh, and there's hearts on the cheeks too. This is a free pattern on my blog. I don't know if I mentioned the fairy pattern I sell in my shop, but this love bug is a free pattern. I've seen a ton of people do different color combinations so that it's not just a Valentine's Day plush. So if you want to just make a cute caterpillar, you can definitely change that up. And for the antennas, you can just make them rounded instead of hearts. So love bugs and fairies are actually all that I crocheted in January. I told you it was not that much, but I promise we'll make up for it in February. So the first thing that I crocheted in February was actually for a brand partnership. And honestly, my favorite brand partnerships are the ones where I get to crochet like the brand's characters or mascots or anything like that. And this one was for Vida the Vet. If you haven't heard about it, it's a kid's show. It's on YouTube, and I believe it's on Netflix now too. It's a really cute kid's show, but I did a collaboration with them to crochet 2 of their characters, Vida the Vet, and I'll show you her in a minute, and this is Pippin the Koala. This was a really fun and cute collab that I got to do. So this is the first thing that I crocheted in February. I'll show you Vida. I crocheted her, I think, in December, but I can't show Pippin without showing Vida. So this was Vida the Vet, and honestly, this was a doozy of a project. I really love when crochet plushies are just a little bit challenging because I do like to make a lot of my plushies beginner friendly or even just like easier intermediate, just so that they can reach a wider audience, more people can make them. So when I get to do projects like this, where I get to make things a little bit more complicated, it's honestly a ton of fun for me. Vita here, her hair alone I think took me 8 hours, just because I had to crochet every single strand and then tied it up into her signature ponytail. In the cartoon, her ponytail reaches the floor, so I definitely wanted to make that realistic. But like I said, this was a ton of fun. I don't think I've showed this yet on my YouTube channel. The collab is obviously on Instagram, but I wanted to give Vita and Pippin some love on the channel. Also, I apologize if it sounds like I'm losing my voice. I am. It's just allergies, and I usually don't really get allergies, but they really hit me this year, so if it sounds like I'm straining, it's because I am. Don't worry, I'll get some tea with honey after I'm done. The next thing I made, and I can't find it, so I must have sold it, it's this Valentine's ice cream cone. This was in February, so of course I had to continue with the Valentine's theme. The ice cream cone pattern is in my shop. If you watched my How Much Can I Crochet in 8 Hours video, this is the ice cream cone pattern that I used in that. And the mod for this is actually on my Instagram. So if you go on the highlights, I have a mods highlight and I say the colors that I used here and how to make the cherry shaped heart. So if you want to make your own, I know it's not even close to Valentine's Day right now, but you can check out the pattern in the mod. The next thing I made in February, and this is one of my favorite patterns of all time, and that is my monkey pattern. I designed this one in February, and I say this about so many of my patterns, but I think that this might be my favorite one. I had a monkey plush growing up that I called Monk Monk, and this monkey was based off of that. I just really love how he turned out, and it's very low sew, so if you're sewing adverse, you just have to sew the head to the body, that's it. And then I made a tiny little banana for it too. So this is my little Monk Monk plush. I dropped the banana. But I made this one. I made a purple one, which I can't find, so I must have sold it. I made this fuzzy pink one, and don't worry, we'll get into the fuzzy plushies very soon. I have many of those. As you know, I was on a fuzzy yarn kick for a while. And then I also made Boots the monkey from Dora the Explorer, and I really enjoyed making this one because of the cute little red boots. The mod for this one is actually included in the monkey pattern, so if you buy the monkey pattern, it tells you how to make Boots the monkey too. So if your kids like Dora the Explorer, then definitely check it out. But this pattern is in my shop, and looking back at these, I feel like I want to make another monkey, maybe a monkey and floral yarn for spring. Be really cute. The next thing that I crocheted in February is this no-sew flower bouquet, and this was a free pattern that I did. All of the flowers included in it are all no-sew, and so is the wrapping and the bow on it as well. And I like this one because you can mix and match different flowers and different colors. I did tulips, primrose, and daisies in it. And I think it's a little bit different from other flower bouquets because I did use super bulky chenille yarn, so it gives it more of like a plush look than a typical crochet flower. So my free pattern lovers, definitely check this one out. Also, if you're looking for a gift for any mothers in your lives, then I think a handmade bouquet would be really sweet. The next two things that I made in February, so I told you February was a bigger month, and it was also the month of using fuzzy yarn. The first is this fuzzy white duck, because it is super soft and I really love how it turned out. This is using the mallard duck pattern in my shop. All I did was change the colors. So you just do white for the body and then yellow for the beak and the feet. For the yarn, I used Little Bunny yarn, and that is from Premier. I'll link it in the description. So I used the Little Bunny yarn for the body and the head. And then for the feet and the beak, I used Parfait Chunky. So they paired really well together, and everyone who asks, how do you crochet with fuzzy yarn and how do you see your stitches? You honestly don't see your stitches, you just have to feel for them. You just put your hook where the next stitch should be, it goes through, and then you crochet. So if you're someone who has to see your stitches while you're crocheting, I don't recommend this yarn. But if you're okay with crocheting and feeling for stitches, I would definitely check it out. It is a bit to get used to, I will say, but the results I think are lovely. And continuing on the fuzzy train for this month, I made a fuzzy crab. It honestly looks like a spider because there's no such thing as fuzzy crabs, but I really enjoy crocheting crabs. This is the crab pattern in my shop. And again, I used Little Bunny yarn for the fuzzy part, and then I used Parfait Chunky for the underbelly, just to give it a little bit of a texture difference. And a fuzzy crab might be a little bit silly, but again, I really like how it turned out, and I love that I could use the purple for this. Okay, we're moving right along. Moving on to March, the first thing that I crocheted in March was this mermaid. This is my pattern. It's in my shop. I wanted it to be kind of the same size as my fairy pattern. So if you have someone in your life that likes mermaids, fairies, like my niece does, then I wanted them to be able to be friends and play together. And just like my fairy pattern, you can do different hairstyles. How to do them is all included in the pattern. So if you want to do like a high pony, low pony, these high pigtails, then you can definitely do that. I made the pink and teal mermaid. I made a rainbow mermaid. I already sold her, so I'll put a photo of her in there. I wanted to use just fun, colorful pastels because I thought that that would be perfect for a mermaid. And then I also made this jumbo mermaid. She was quite the doozy to make. I used the exact same pattern as my mermaid pattern, but I used Parfait XL yarn, which is a size 7 jumbo yarn, and I believe a 9mm hook. She's big. She definitely takes up a lot of space, but she was a lot of fun to make, and every once in a while I love taking on the challenge of making jumbo plushies. The first thing I crocheted in March, mermaids. And the next thing I crocheted, once again, I was still on the fuzzy yarn kick, but I made this fuzzy sheep, and this pattern is in my shop. When I designed my sheep pattern, it's cute, but it's honestly not one of my favorite patterns until I used fuzzy yarn with it. Which makes sense because sheep have very fuzzy fur, and this just like took it up to the next level. Now I love the pattern, and I feel like I need to make it in other colors as well because it just turned out so fuzzy and chubby and cute. So that's the next thing I crocheted in March. The next plushie that I crocheted in March was another one of my favorites, and it's Connie the cow. If you've been here for a while, you know that Connie the cow is the very first mascot I designed for Wonder Crochet. So if you go onto my Etsy, you can get stickers and sweatshirts with different crocheting animals on them, and I know that many of you have those sweatshirts. That makes me so excited, so thank you so much. I love when you tag me in posts of you wearing the sweatshirts. If you watch my videos, you know that I wear the sweatshirts a lot. So Connie the cow was the very first. I decided to revamp the original Connie pattern, make it a bit smaller, and make the spots like actual color changes because you had to sew them on before, and I really love how she turned out. So with this pattern, I decided to make a Highland cow modification as well. So this was a lot of fun for me to design. It's like a 2-in-1 pattern that you can get in my shop. So you have the typical Holstein cow, and then you have a Highland cow as well. My favorite part are the little hairs in front. So I made Connie, Connor, I just made that up. And then I made a spring cow as well. When I do my patterns, I always like to do just like the typical regular color and then a fun color as well, if you haven't noticed that. So this was my fun color option, pink, and I used Bloom chenille yarn. I'll link it in the description for the feet and the hands and the snout and the horns. So it has a little bit of a floral look, but as you know, I love spring, I love florals, so I just had to have a floral cow. Oh, I forgot, I made one more cow. It was sitting up here the whole time. I made another Highland cow, and of course I used the Little Bunny fluffy yarn. This one just turned out so cute with the fuzzy yarn because Highland cows are pretty fuzzy. So there's a side by side. So this is Parfait Chunky, and this is Little Bunny, and the details are done in Parfait Chunky. So again, one of my favorite patterns. The next thing that I crocheted in March is my no-sew tulip pillow. So if you've been following me, you know I love making no-sew flower pillows. So you can see one right here, the forget-me-not. And I've also made a sunflower, a daisy, daffodil. I honestly can't remember what else, but I had to make a tulip for spring. It looks really cute as a throw pillow, and I've seen a lot of people make them in pink and purple, and I think that's really pretty. I will say the flower pillows are a bit of a doozy of a project because you do have to use jumbo size yarn, and it's obviously a larger project, but there's no sewing involved, so it could be more time consuming. But I honestly had a lot of fun designing this one, and I know you all have given me wonderful suggestions for other flower pillows to design, but feel free to leave those in the comments if you know there's a flower that you want. The next thing that I crocheted, I've showed these on the channel before. Actually, I think they're in my last video, but I made a bunch of blueberry snails. This pattern is by Garden Hoe Crochet, and it's honestly such a cute, fun pattern. I've mentioned this before, but I think that this would sell really well at markets, especially if you're selling at a farmer's market. But it's just a cute snail with a blueberry, and the pattern includes several other fruit snail patterns. She's coming out with even more, so definitely check them out. But I crocheted the first one in March, and then I finished 2 more in April, so it's bridging the gap between the 2 months. So let's move on to April. We're just breezing through here, and I'm absolutely surrounded by plushies right now. They're on the floor. You can see them on the couch around me. I'll have a lot of cleanup to do afterwards. The first thing that I crocheted in April was just a bit of a fun project for myself, just because I wanted to, and it's this Nanaland plush. If you're not familiar with Nanaland, it is a Canadian kids show, and this cute little character has gone viral this year. There have been tons of memes of her, so definitely look her up if you haven't seen it already. Her name is Mona, and she's just this cute green puppet. Sometimes I like to just crochet stuff for myself because often I'm trying to make new patterns or crocheting things for brands, and it's fun every so often to just crochet something for myself. So that's what this was. There's no pattern for her, I freehanded her, but I just really love how her dress turned out, and her little pigtails, I brushed out worsted weight yarn to create those and then added beads on there. So this was a fun project and the first thing that I crocheted in April. The next thing that I crocheted in April is my S'mores Buddies pattern. And this one is now in my shop. I have a regular s'mores pattern, I have a mini s'mores pattern, and this is the third s'mores pattern that I've made. I figured out that I've made one s'mores pattern every year for the last 3 years. You guys love s'mores, and I really love how much you all love them. So I wanted to make one that was a little bit different, and it has 4 little marshmallow buddies in there, and they all have different faces, and these were just a lot of fun to make. So this pattern you can grab at my shop now. If you watched my fruit animal challenge video, then you've already seen these, but I made these fruit animals. So we have a strawberry octopus here, and we have an orange kitten. If you haven't watched that video, go watch it now. It's a lot of fun. But basically I was spinning a wheel to crochet different fruits and animals together, and these were the 2 combos I got. So these were a lot of fun to make. I don't think I would have made them otherwise. So I definitely want to do a part 2 to make more food animal combination plushies. Oh, and the umbrella octopus pattern and the kitten pattern are both in my shop. So if you want to make these same ones, then you just have to change the colors. And the last thing that I crocheted in April, this is my brand new pattern, so it's not quite out yet, but it will be out next Friday. So just check out my Instagram for that announcement. It's my teapot popping pal. So if you've ever seen the popping crochet patterns, they pop out. You know how much I love Alice in Wonderland, so this is obviously inspired by that, and you know how much I love tea, so I wanted to make a little teapot with a mouse inside, and he just pops out to say hello. I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is probably one of my favorite patterns that I've designed, just because it's so different from anything else that I've designed, and I really like the popping trend. I think it's super fun, and I've heard that they sell well at markets. So I made this one, which was purple and yellow, and if you can see, it has little flowers embroidered on the front. And then, to no one's surprise, I made a strawberry or watermelon, whatever you want, themed one with a white mouse inside. And he pops out to say hello. So like I said, this pattern is not out yet, but it will be out soon. I have a lot of other fun popping patterns planned. Oh, so many P's. So if you don't already follow me on Instagram, definitely check it out. I post all my new projects and fun over there. You can follow along with my new patterns so you don't miss anything. And if you want to wait for these to release, this pattern will be in my shop very soon. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing everything that I've crocheted so far this year. I have honestly so many more fun ideas planned to crochet. Let me know in the comments what your favorite thing was or something that you'd like to see me crochet. I always love hearing your ideas. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. And as always, we'll see you real soon.